Hello and welcome back to Travel in Chinese. I'm your host Mark Rosewell, better known as Dashan. In the last lesson we were in a Sichuan restaurant, Chuan Cai Guan. You know there's probably at least one Chinese restaurant in every city in the world, and Sichuan style is one of the most popular. It's known for being very spicy. 你能吃辣的吗? Can you eat spicy food? If not, you might want to try Cantonese food. Yue Cai is Cantonese food. Actually, there are 8 different styles of Chinese cooking, and there's lots of variation within those styles, lots to choose from. Well, today the dishes are served. Let's see how the meal goes.
夫妻肺片，四川泡菜，酸辣黄瓜。
凉菜都上来了，咱们开始吃吧。这里的夫妻肺片不错，来，你们都尝尝。
看起来就很有食欲。
确实不错。
吃起来更好吃。来，你们以茶代酒，咱们干杯，为了友谊。
好，为了友谊。
热菜有点慢，服务员，菜上的快点啊！
好的，帮您催一下。这里客人太多了，都忙不过来了。
是啊，看来中国人很喜欢吃川菜。
川菜的口味一般人都能接受，很大众化。哎，菜来了。
麻婆豆腐。宫保鸡丁，鱼香肉丝。您点的菜已上齐，请慢用。
谢谢。来，
我实在吃不下了，到这儿了，满了。
满了，真形象。
在美国，你常吃中国菜吗？
不常吃，有时候到唐人街吃中国菜。
我留学的时候也常去唐人街吃饭，那里的中国菜大多是南方菜。
中国菜油很大，可是中国人并不太胖，这是为什么呢？
可能中国人的运动量比较大，骑自行车走路的人比较多。
我觉得这个问题还挺复杂的。中国菜里面的油到底大不大？中国人到底胖不胖？都是值得研究的问题。
那这个问题就拜托你了。
好，等我研究研究再告诉你们。吃好了吗？咱们结账吧。
好，服务员，买单。你一共消费了160块，把账单给我看看。哎，这上面怎么是3瓶啤酒啊？我们只要了1瓶啊。您稍等，我帮您问问。
结账为什么叫买单呢？
买单其实是从广东话来的，广东话说结账就说买单。
对不起，刚才点菜的时候给您记错了，现在给您出了一份新的账单，您看看。这回差不多。
好，给你钱，给我开一张发票。
好的。
Okay, now let's go over the dialogue part by part. 干杯 is a phrase you'll hear many times at a Chinese banquet. Cheers! 干杯 literally means to dry the glass, or as we say in English, bottoms up. Of course, many people don't drink alcohol, but that doesn't stop you from making a toast. 以茶代酒, to use tea instead of alcohol, is acceptable. 为了友谊, for friendship, 干杯, cheers.
吃起来更好吃。来，你们以茶代酒，咱们干杯，为了友谊。
好，为了友谊。
The drinks and the cold dishes, 凉菜, have arrived, but the hot dishes, 热菜, are a little slow in coming. 忙不过来了, we're too busy. 太忙了 also means to be too busy, but 忙不过来了 is to be so busy that you just can't keep up. 忙不过来了. The restaurant is busy because so many people like Sichuan food. 川菜的口味一般人都能接受，很大众化。 Most people can handle the flavor of Sichuan food. It's very common. 接受 is to accept. They can accept it. Even though Sichuan food is very spicy, it's also popular with the masses. 很大众化。
这里客人太多了，都忙不过来了。
是啊，看来中国人很喜欢吃川菜。
川菜的口味一般人都能接受，很大众化。
到底 is one of the structures we're going to be looking at today. 到底 literally means get to the bottom, find out the truth. 中国菜里的油到底大不大? Is Chinese cooking really that oily? 中国人到底胖不胖? Are Chinese people really overweight? Let's get to the bottom of this. 拜托了, that's a polite way of requesting somebody else to do something for you, to do you a favor. 拜托了, could you do this for me, please? Sometimes it's used sarcastically like, oh, spare me. 拜托了, you do it.
中国菜油很大，可是中国人并不太胖，这是为什么呢？
可能中国人的运动量比较大，骑自行车、走路的人比较多。
我觉得这个问题还挺复杂的。中国菜里面的油到底大不大？中国人到底胖不胖？都是值得研究的问题。
那这个问题就拜托你了。
Okay, time to pay for the meal. 结账 is the proper or correct way to say pay the bill, but 买单 has become a common colloquial expression in Mandarin. Originally, this comes from the Cantonese dialect. Remember that I said Cantonese restaurants were probably the most common style of Chinese restaurant around the world? Nowadays, everyone knows the Cantonese expression 买单. Okay, let's watch that part again.
结账为什么叫买单呢？
买单其实是从广东话来的，广东话说结账就说买单。
Welcome to our little tea house where we'll talk about some of the background issues that we came across in today's lesson. You know, most major cities in the West have some kind of Chinese community area or Chinatown. In Chinese, the expression 唐人街 is the most common. Tang is the name of one of the greatest dynasties in Chinese history. It's a golden period of history. So some of the early Chinese immigrants to the West referred to themselves as Tangren. This is similar to the expression Hanren. Han was the name of another great dynasty. But nobody calls Chinatown Hanrenjie. For whatever reason, the term Tangrenjie is the most common one. 中国城 is a direct translation of the English Chinatown, 中国城. Now, for cities that have a large Chinese community, sometimes the term 华人社区 is used. 社区 is a community, much larger than just one or two streets, with a few Chinese shops and restaurants. Of course, apart from buying special products imported from China, one of the main reasons for visiting Chinatown is to try the restaurants. Unfortunately, many Chinese restaurants overseas are not very authentic. Sometimes it seems that a new style of Chinese cooking has been invented just for restaurants overseas. For example, you'll have a hard time finding egg rolls or fortune cookies anywhere in China. Some newer restaurants overseas are fairly authentic, although southern cooking styles, especially Cantonese, are by far the most dominant. Now let's take a closer look at a specific language point that came up in today's dialogue. 到底, really, after all. It literally means to the bottom. Like the way we say in English, get to the bottom of something. What's the true story? For example, 我们到底几点去故宫? What time are we going to the Forbidden City after all? 我们到底几点去故宫? Here's another example. 我们的票到底订到了没有? Were our tickets reserved after all? What's the story? 我们的票到底订到了没有? Okay, let's go back now and see how they used 到底 in today's dialogue.
中国菜油很大，可是中国人并不太胖，这是为什么呢？
可能中国人的运动量比较大，骑自行车、走路的人比较多。
我觉得这个问题还挺复杂的。中国菜里面的油到底大不大？中国人到底胖不胖？都是值得研究的问题。
那这个问题就拜托你了。
好，等我研究研究再告诉你们。
Today we're going to look closely at 3 specific verb patterns that came up in the dialogue and try some substitution. The first one is verb followed by 不过来. This indicates that the action can't be entirely completed. For example, 这么多好吃的菜， 我都吃不过来了。There's so many tasty dishes, I simply can't eat all of them. There are too many of them for me to finish eating. 这么多好吃的菜，我都吃不过来了。Okay, let's try some substitutions now using verb plus 不过来。
客人太多了，服务员都忙不过来了。
客人太多了，服务员都忙不过来了。
打电话的人太多了，他都接不过来了。
打电话的人太多了，他都接不过来了。
The second pattern is verb plus 齐了。齐 is short for 齐全, everything is prepared or everything has arrived. Now in this pattern, sometimes the verb is implied. It doesn't necessarily have to be stated. For example, 人都来齐了，我们可以出发了。We can leave now, everybody's here. We could just say 人都齐了, or as in this example, 人都来齐了，我们可以出发了。Okay, let's try some substitution exercises with this pattern.
我已经把他要的东西都买齐了。
我已经把他要的东西都买齐了。
办护照需要的东西我都准备齐了。
办护照需要的东西我都准备齐了。
Here's another useful pattern. Verb plus 错. This indicates that an action hasn't been done correctly. There's been some kind of mistake or error. For example, 他不小心拿错了行李. He wasn't careful and he took the wrong piece of luggage. You notice in English we say that the luggage is wrong. Here in Chinese, the action is wrong. The action of 拿 was wrong. 拿错了. 他不小心拿错了行李. Let's try some substitutions with this pattern.
他把地址写错了。
他把地址写错了。
他把出发的时间听错了。
他把出发的时间听错了。
在美国，你常吃中国菜吗？
不常吃，有时候到唐人街吃中国菜。
我留学的时候也常去唐人街吃饭，那里的中国菜大多是南方菜。
中国菜油很大，可是中国人并不太胖，这是为什么呢？
可能中国人的运动量比较大，骑自行车、走路的人比较多。
我觉得这个问题还挺复杂的。中国菜里面的油到底大不大？中国人到底胖不胖？都是值得研究的问题。
那这个问题就拜托你了。
好，等我研究研究再告诉你们。
Well, in today's lesson, we've been enjoying a meal at a Sichuan restaurant, 川菜馆. You know, there are Sichuan restaurants not only in Sichuan province, but all around China, and in fact, all around the world in various Chinatowns, 唐人街 or 中国城. 吃好了吗? Are you full? Have you eaten enough? Well, in the next episode, we're going to...